Are you a Womentonian? Where did you go to school at? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Help individuals in the community. Being a faith leader is my number one.
Yeah.
I want to say areas of servitude.
But what is standing out is your leadership.
Right, to listen, to learn, and to advocate and to help where I can.
And we're back. Well, as I share with you all, I have with us Councilwoman Michelle Harley, and she has been a true friend to East Iron Fist. She doesn't make a lot of noise. She doesn't come around and always want to be in someone's face, but the work she's done, especially in the South Bridge section of the city, has been very much noted. And I wanted to, and I know a lot of you may be surprised because you've not heard me share her or speak of her, but I tend to just allow those who are friends to us to be what they are and who they are. So today, for the first time, can I just welcome you to the Coffee with Curry?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Curry. Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Yes. Well, let's start off, as I always do with all of our guests. Let's talk a little bit about Michelle Harley. Are you a Womentonian? Where did you go to school at? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so yes, I am a Womentonian. I'm a native Womentonian. I grew up pretty much on the west side. We lived on the west side, and we also lived where we call East Lawn, over off of 35th Street.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
in that area. As a matter of fact, I live one block over from Vale de Potter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so we lived in the same community.
Okay.
Although she went to PS, I went to Wilmington High School.
Are there rivalries in that area?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay, all right.
Kind of, sort of, but because I'm the youngest of five, and my older siblings went to Wilmington High School, you know, sometimes the younger ones want to follow in the footsteps of our older siblings. So I decided to go to Wilmington High School. Went to Wilmington High School, and then I went on to Springfield College.
Oh, okay.
Yes, went to Springfield College. And my background is human resources management. And I'm pretty much, yes, I'm a native Womentonian. And I've always served in some capacity. I got that from my grandmother and my parents. We've always helped individuals in the community, in our family, and those in our neighborhood.
Yeah, and you went to Springfield College.
Yes.
Excellent. And then you left college and you went to DuPont. I know you worked at DuPont at some point.
So it's an interesting story.
Okay.
Okay, so I am a third generation DuPonter.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so my father worked at DuPont. DuPont is a household name for me. Growing up, my father worked for DuPont. Two of my older sisters worked for DuPont. So when I was in high school doing my what you call internship, I applied on my lunch break. Just said, you know, I'm gonna go up there and just apply so I can, you know, just see what happens.
Right.
And unbeknownst to me, they actually called me. So I ended up getting hired the same year I graduated from high school.
Oh, wow.
So my parents encouraged me to go on and start with the company and allow them to pay for my education.
Wow,
So
excellent.
that's how that happened.
Excellent, excellent.
Which it's a humbug kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was actually doing, at that time we called it, we worked as a senior in high school, you work 2 weeks and go to school
Right.
2 weeks. For those that were going to college, it was like preparing you for college. And I fooled around, went to DuPont, filled out an application, and I remember them asking me, did I have any family members that worked there. So I didn't even know, like, usually if you have a family member, more than likely you're going to get a job. Had I known that, I probably would not have gone, because I would have waited until after college.
Yeah, well, if your family member wasn't a good worker, they would not have given you a job. So that speaks to your family strength. So that's excellent.
Yes.
So you had an opportunity to go to during school time.
Yes.
Do an internship.
Yes.
Did some kind of co-op where you were able to, go to school and get some money as
Yes.
well. But I really appreciate your parents for that, and I hope some person who's watching us today will catch what you said. Your parents did not do away with the dream for college.
Right.
You go ahead and keep working for them.
Yes.
They have a program where they can pay for your college. Keep
Absolutely.
you out of those student loans.
Absolutely.
So that was awesome.
Yes.
And congratulations to your parents for having that kind of wisdom during that time. Now, how long have you been working for the DuPonts at this point?
Okay, so I started in marketing.
Okay.
And then from marketing, I moved into finance. And so now I'm in the quality organization, which is a part of procurement. So any procurement organization basically is the buying organization of a company. But my group, we're like the quality between the manufacturing sites. DuPont is a global company. The majority of all the plants that are connected to DuPont or plant sites. I work in the corporate office, which is here on Wilmington at Chestnut Run, and I will tell you, I've been there like 35 plus years.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, so you must have been a real baby.
I tease people. I tell them that my father took me to take your daughter to work day, and I stayed. And I just stayed. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the running joke.
Okay. That's excellent. That's excellent. And you also you were brought up on you said the west side, but
so we started
on the west side,
side,
but you ended up on the east side.
And then in Newark. So I have three areas that I think about when I think about growing up. We started on the west side when I was younger. I went to Lohr School, Lohr, Bayard, and Lohr, Bayard, and Wilmington High. So when I was in grade school, Lohr and Bayard. And then we moved to 35th Street, which is considered East Lawn.
Right.
And then I think we were there up through my high school, and then we moved to Newcastle.
Okay.
Yeah, Newcastle. So yeah, that's my journey.
Well, that's awesome. So you're thoroughly threaded with Wilmington.
Absolutely.
You said a few minutes ago that your family have always served the community in one way or another.
Yes.
Do you have any examples of that?
Yes, my daughter, well, first of all, I'll start with my grandmother. My grandmother, actually, she was a young widow. When her and my grandfather moved to Wilmington, they actually had bought a home over on Church Street on the east side. My grandfather passed away at an early age, and my grandmother ended up moving here in Southbridge over in the new extension across on Newcastle Avenue across from Eden Park.
Yes.
It's torn down now, but my grandmother lived there for a lot of years. I remember going over there during the summer time, and I'm saying all that to say that when I used to go visit my grandmother, it was always a stranger there. And I would always ask Grandma, like, who's that, and always wanting to know, like, who are these different people? And later on, of course, I was much younger, going to grandmom's every summer. I think I was between like 8 and 12 years old, and I can always remember her having a different person there helping them, and the next time I would go, it would be someone else there. But later on, once I got older, I realized that she actually was helping people that needed a place to stay, that needed some type of support of some one thing or another.
Right.
And then fast forward in the story, getting older, I remember my mother always helping her friends. My mother, and mainly my mother, like my father, I know he was involved some kind of way, but my mother was the main one that was the one that they would call friends and family. My mother was like the go-to person that if anybody in my family needed help, her siblings mainly, because she was the oldest, and she always looked out after her family and her friends and help anybody I know, that she could help out. Yeah. So it started there, and fast forwarding the story to now, I have a daughter that's she's a school board member in the Appoquinimink School District.
One of the better ones.
Yeah, so she's elected, right? Yeah. The process is the same. You got to do basically the same thing you have to do running for a political elected seat, right? So, and then I have a nephew that I'm sure may know him, Eugene Young.
Oh yes.
Who
he's coming on
good.
show too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's a servant. So
Yeah.
when I say that, and then my sister Eugene's mother,
Oh, okay.
Diane, she's a retired educator.
Okay.
Right. So I think, any type of service like that is public servanthood, right?
Right.
She's a retired school teacher, and she also was the director of the summer youth program for the city of Wilmington.
Oh, wow.
In the summertime, right? And so, and then I have another daughter that used to work for DuPont as well. I have a set of twin adult daughters.
Okay.
Right. So both of them, they love helping and giving. One does the Angel Tree giveaway.
Oh, okay, yeah. We just started that program here about 2 years
Okay.
ago, and we love that program.
Yes.
In fact, that was one of the better programs that had been established here in the state. So that's excellent. And
Yes.
I've heard you had an opportunity to talk about your education. You were
Yes.
back, where you were reared at. You did all that wonderful things, and I really want those of you who are watching us to understand that when you see politicians or public servants sitting and making tough decisions and decisions that we don't always agree with, you really need to know and understand the heart of the person. This is one of the reasons why the first part of every interview, I share the person.
Okay.
So people can get an opportunity to see who is Michelle Harley? What is she made of?
Yes.
But it was one area we haven't touched on yet, and I really want to make sure that the people understand you're not just a person who made it, a person who loved people, but you also have a personal connection to God. And you belong to one of the most powerful churches here in the city.
Thank
so
you.
let's and that's kind of hard for me to say something like that, but
Yes.
but that's the truth. Like you said earlier, telling the truth should never be hard.
That's correct.
But you do belong to one of the most powerful churches in this city. Let's talk a little bit about our church life and
Yes.
where you are with that.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I always share with people, being a faith leader is my number one. I want to say areas of servitude. When I say a faith leader, meaning I'm always available if someone want prayer, need any type of spiritual guidance. That's first and foremost for me. I became a believer in my teenage years.
Excellent.
I joined Bishop Weeks Church in the 80s, and soon after joining and becoming a member, it wasn't long after that I began to serve in a leadership position. I want to say for about 25 years I've been serving as an ordained elder. I've served in 4 associate pastor positions at New Destiny Fellowship and was on the board of New Destiny Fellowship for many, many years as well. So ever since I've been a member, I want to say, like I said, about 5 years after becoming a member, I've served in leadership capacities, which I feel really helped to prepare me for the work that I'm doing today. I've served with the Women's Fellowship. I served in the education department. I served in the worship department. I served in the the outreach department. So working and serving in the church to me has really prepared me for the work that I'm doing today, externally and internally. And what I mean by externally and internally is in the community. I'm just, working with people, knowing how to work with people, because it starts with love, right? And so that's my reason, my purpose for doing the work that I do is the love and the compassion. And most of all, the need, right? So serving in the capacity of the 4 walls definitely prepared me working for the community and also working with people, because as you know, as a pastor, the church will train you and prepare you to work for all different personalities.
Yes.
And so that's why I say, serving in the church for 25 plus years as a leader, and as a leader, it's a push and pull all the time, working with people, understanding personalities, and empowering and educating and encouraging. So all of those opportunities, I feel, prepared me for the work that I'm doing today. So honestly, city council is small potatoes as it relates to, getting involved in terms of working with a team. That's the small potatoes. I mean, it's an honor to be an elected official and to be able to make those hard decisions that impact, the citizens of Wilmington. That's an honor, but, it was easy. I'm just working with the team because I'm used to working with teams as it relates to the church. I'm used to working with teams as it relates to a professional at DuPont. I mean, if you're anywhere for 25 or 30 years, you've learned how to navigate systems, right? If you're still there that long and you're still in those capacities and you're continuing to move up, and those that are making those decisions see your value.
Yeah.
So it's been an honor, you know, on both ends, you know, serving in my church and also, and even at DuPont, being a coach for interns coming in to the company. Of course, you know, brown and black, sometimes, you know, they don't always see where they fit in an environment like that. So I volunteered to be a coach for those that are coming into the company for internship and for co-ops. We usually go out to colleges and they recruit seniors that are in college to do the co-op, to do the internship in the company. And so that's also has been a pleasure, and it also has trained me in working with different age groups as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And one of the things I've often asked myself, and we're going to talk about the city council as soon as we come back from the break, but one of the things I've asked myself, why is she so poised? Because many times I've heard attacks where people that try to attack you, or I've watched you in meetings where you see other people grandstanding and you just sit back and you don't, and then as you tell me about, you're educated, you're a Christian,
yes.
You're mature,
yes.
so I'm understanding better about Michelle Harley, because why don't she say something? Why don't she react? And now I'm seeing, because you have been conditioned for a time such as this.
Absolutely.
I think this is just awesome, and I'm very glad that we had a chance to get to know the heart of Michelle Harley. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come right back. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the accomplishments that occurred in City Council, some of the things she's done in the 4th District, so that you get a chance to see. That's the whole purpose of these next few weeks of interviews, is to ensure that you get a chance to see the people, and everybody don't try to toot their horn and make sure that you can see everything they do so that you can sing their praises, but they really are behind the scenes making stuff happen, and that's the route I think we ought to be going. We'll be right back. And we're back. Great conversation. We had an opportunity to see the person. We understand she's a councilwoman. We understand she's an elected official. But to see the person, to hear from the person, to understand what really caused them to move and make their decisions, especially the one question I had in my head the whole time when I was preparing for this interview: why are you so poised? We now got that answer. When you are educated, when you're a Christian, when you understand that whatever is for you is going to be for you, you don't have to toot your horn and make other people, feel really bad. Well, you had an opportunity for the last couple of years.
Yes.
I think this is you're in your 2nd term,
yes,
as city council person for the 4th District.
Yes.
And again, you don't do a lot of stuff in public, but I'll say to this crew, there's about 2 or 3 projects I had to work on with you.
Yes.
You delivered. It wasn't about you. It was about following up on the things you need to follow up on, and you were able to deliver those things for me. So I appreciate that on behalf of East Zion Fair and the community that we serve. But what kind of encouraged you, motivated you to run for office?
Okay, so as I had shared with you, I had served in the 4 walls of the church for many years. And during the 4th quarter of every year, I'm always before the Lord asking him, Lord, what's next for me? What's next for me? Because I know that, I'm a vessel for your glory, for your use in whatever way you want me, where you want me to be, that's where I want to be. And so the Lord had put it on my heart that he wanted me to get more involved in the community. And during this time, I was just helping with like turkey drives with the church, toy drives with the church, doing outreach, going to the hospitals and things like that. So that was my extent of being in the community. And so when he put it on my heart to get involved with the community, I'll be honest with you, I was not sure where I was going to get started. And it was so funny because right around that time, I remember receiving a flyer in the mail from the East Side Civic Association in my door. I own property on the East Side. And so I got this flyer. First time I ever received a flyer from the Civic Association. And I decided to go to the meeting. I went to the meeting and was just there listening. And sitting in the meeting, it was just so chaotic. And I was thinking to myself, like, wow, I don't know how to get anything done here, like with all the chaos. So I said to myself, well, you know, I have organizational skills, so maybe I'll just volunteer. Like, I didn't say anything, but later after that, I called the president and I said, hey, you know, I just want to help. So if, you know, this is what I can do, administration, organization, those are my strengths. I will be more than happy to help. I was at the meeting and I realized that, you know, maybe you could use my help. So they brought me in and they said, sure. So I got involved with the Civic Association. About a year later, they wanted me to be the president of the Civic Association. So I said, well, okay. So they nominated me to be the president of the East Side. It was called the Compton Park Square Civic Association. So I became the president of that Civic Association. And then later, Reverend Killing, who pastors Central Baptist, I received a call from him out of the blue. He introduced himself. He said he had heard about me, and he said that they were working on the East Side strategic plan, and he wanted to meet with me to see if I would be willing to get involved. So we met, and I said, sure, you know, I'll be more than happy to get involved. So I joined the East Side Strategic Plan Committee, and I was the chairperson of the economics and development. They needed people to, you know, be leaders. So I said, hey, you know, if they want me, I don't mind either way. So I got involved with the East Side Strategic Plan for the East Side. I was the president of the Civic Association, and then later, Rashmi, who is the, I want to say, I'm not sure what, she's like the CEO of Stepping Stones Credit Union.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so she reached out to me and said, hey, you know, we have a vacancy on our credit board. We would love for you to sit on the board. And I was like, you know, I'm really involved in a lot already with my church, the president of the Civic Association. I'm working with Reverend Killing. And so she says, well, we really would love to have you. So I said, okay, if they vote me in, I'll take the position. So I got voted in on the board, and then later the Neighborhood Planning Council, there was an opportunity for leadership there.
Wow.
I became the president of the Neighborhood Planning Council for the 4th District. Then I got involved with our Democratic Party, the 4th District Democratic Party, like 10 years ago. So that's all community right there.
Yes.
All community. The Civic Association, you're hearing the concerns of the people. Being on the credit union board, you're hearing, you know, people's needs in terms of why they want to apply for loans. I was on the strategic plan, the committee for the East Side strategic plan, which we talked about economics, we talked about housing, we talked about workforce development, we talked about seniors, youth. Those are all the components that are in the community that we talk about, and we were talking about how do we improve the quality of life. So it started on the East Side, and then I guess the tipping point for me was one day I was reading the newspaper and they had a pie chart on the front page of the News Journal of the East Side and the demographics of the income ratio, the health disparities, the in terms of the youth. It was just this pie chart, and when I looked at the pie chart, I was like, OMG. That's, I remember thinking that to myself, like, oh my gosh, this really is bad. And I thought about it. I was like, you know, I really feel like I could really, you know, make a difference with, you know, using my transferable skills, you know, working for DuPont, serving in the church, and serving in the community, because I served in the community 10 years before I got elected.
Right. Okay.
10 years before I got elected. So that's a little bit of my background in terms of me accepting it. And when I learned about there was an open seat, okay, getting back to your question, what made me run, having had the experience of working in the community, understanding the lay of the land for the 4th District, because when you're the Neighborhood Planning Council president, you meet with all the civic leaders in the entire district, right? And so then I learned there was an open seat for the 4th District, and because I was already involved, I started asking different people, like, who do you think our next leader should be? Because we were working and just trying to improve things in the 4th District. And so a number of people said, I think you should think about running. And I was like, no, I'm not asking for that reason. I want to work with everybody else for us to, you know, identify a leader to support. And about 3 people had mentioned they thought I should run, and I said maybe I should think about it. I went to my family. Of course, I talked to the Lord about it first and foremost.
Absolutely.
And I went to my family and I talked to my pastor, and they all felt as though, yeah, you definitely, should do it. You should do it. And then at work, I have a friend that I used to go to lunch with every other month, and we would just talk about what's going on, like catching up with each other. Like he was always writing a book or building something on his house, and I was always talking about something in the community. And I'll never forget when we met for lunch this particular day, I said, Cliffy, you're not going to believe this, but there's, this push from a number of people wanting me to run for an elected position. And when I told him, he was like, he called me Mimi, right? He said, Mimi, absolutely 100% you should do it. And this is what he said that really made me decide. He said, I'm going to write your first $600 check. That's how much I believe in you.
Oh, wow. Excellent. I'm listening to you. And normally when we're having these interviews, I'm always listening to see, are you answering my questions that I have in my head to ask? And you've answered a lot, all of them. But what is standing out is your leadership. The Bible, and this is not a spiritual talk show, this is a regular talk show, but the Bible speaks of that he will prepare, your gifts will make room for you.
Yes.
And what has happened is your leadership, your ability to take one step, the next step, from being a good student at Wilmington High School, then going on to Springfield, being at DuPont. But everywhere you've been, you've always risen to the top. I'm reminded of Joseph in the Bible, where he was started out as the minority, but he ended up always at the top of whatever area he was in. So as I asked the question of what really motivated you, well, it was God pushing you the whole time to take over and be a part of such leadership at a time that we were in. You have been a true leader. And
I thank God for that, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I've never went looking for a certain position. I'm not a climber, just trying to climb to the next thing, my path, my journey really has been orchestrated by God. I can see that, from the time, as I shared with you, when I first started going to New Destiny. And it was even to the point, I was identified for so many leadership positions in my church. I used to feel like my pastor was picking on me.
Oh, wow.
But you know how the enemy works.
Oh, yes.
He'll make you, he's a deceiver.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And he tried to turn that around with me thinking that, why am I getting picked to do everything? That's how much I wanted to be laid back, okay? Because I kept thinking I'm being asked to do this, I'm being asked to do that. And then at some point, of course, when I began to mature spiritually, then I recognized and realized, that the Lord was using him to help me to develop the gifts that, God, has placed within me. So yes, I definitely find myself in a leadership position. A lot. I went to Bible school to learn more about the Bible. Primarily, that was my reason. But it also opened an opportunity for me to be an adjunct instructor at New Destiny Bible Institute as well.
Yeah.
So just having the degree in theology, right? First and foremost, just wanting to learn more about the life that I live. A deeper study, but through that, it also led me to a leadership position to be able to teach, in a Bible Institute, and I did teach leadership.
Okay.
So
wow.
I thank God for all those opportunities.
Yes.
And it's really all about, giving back, and sharing those gifts, that God put in all of us. And as you know, we all have, our gifts, and I think when it's something that's already in you, all you have to do is recognize it and allow God to use it.
Right.
And I think it just becomes very, very easy. Just being obedient and open and obedience, I think has led me, to where I am today.
We have had an opportunity, and we're going to, in the last segment of the day, we're going to talk a lot about city council, some of the controversial things like budget, things of that nature. But, you've been with the 4th District for several years now, you're in your second term.
Yes.
What do you consider to be some of your greatest accomplishments?
Okay, so one, starting with this budget here, so this is in this particular 108th session, I was voted in as the Vice Chair of Finance. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize the power and impact of being in that position. So I had I had the opportunity, I'm sorry, to be at the table with the finance chair, which is Councilmember Johnson, to negotiate on the things and the items in the budget that City Council wanted to put in the budget. For those that don't know, the mayor presents his budget in March in terms of what his departments want to put in the budget and the operating budget, and then City Council, then we talk about what we want to add to the budget, right? For us to have a balanced budget and for it to be a win-win for the administration and a win-win for the community.
Okay.
So being vice chair, I had the opportunity to really, be at the table and to voice, some of the things that I heard from the community that I felt, and along with my council colleagues, what we felt was important for the community, for Wilmingtonians, but especially for brown and blacks to have opportunities. So of course, those are opportunities for whomever need them,
right,
but they most certainly will benefit brown and black people. So having said that, being able to, number one, there was $300,000 that used to be on City Council in our budget. Some kind of way it ended up after 107 going to the administration, and even during 107 I always felt as though that 300 should have been distributed amongst 13 council members. It didn't happen, but I never forgot about it. I felt like, because with us, the council members having that extra money, that's more money to help organizations within the community. That was my only reason for wanting that money, because we're at the meetings, we're on the ground, we're hearing the needs of the people. Right. So, hey, we know what the community needs best, those, especially the district council members that attend, civic meetings and things of that nature. So getting the $300,000 back from one branch of government back to the legislative branch, I think, being a voice, amplifying the need was an accomplishment in this budget. Asking for the $2 million for the neighborhood stabilization, because I saw the benefit of those ARPA funds that we received from the federal government in terms of how they were used on the east side to revitalize and to repair homes, and you didn't have to qualify for those dollars, how there was still more needs. But of course, asking for the $2 million doesn't mean it's going to go just to the east side, but for those in Wilmington that need that money in terms of repairs that cannot afford it, especially our seniors. So the $2 million, advocating for that extra $2 million. Now the mayor had already put money in the budget for the land bank, that deals with homes, but that $2 million, myself and a couple other council members, we were very strongly, persuaded that having that extra $2 million would help the community. And then all of the dollars that the $250,000 for the water bill utility assistance. So I don't want to take all the credit, but City Council, we negotiated on putting $250,000 in the budget this year for water bill utility assistance. We also negotiated on putting $250,000 for first-time home buyers assistance, up to $10,000. Once you go through a program, you had to get the certificate that you went through the program to qualify for the dollars, but they're there. Let's see, the $250,000 extra for minority businesses. There was already $1 million, I think, that was put in the budget by the administration, but we expressed that we thought $250,000 more would be more helpful. And then there is a legislation that I sponsored that deals with abatement for homeowners that have been in their homes for more than 10 years. If their taxes go up for more than 50% as a result of going up as it relates to redevelopment, or like right now we're in the process of Newcastle County doing their assessment, right? So over a period of time, like right now, no one's anticipating it going up that high, the Newcastle County assessment, maybe 5, 10, 15% at the most. But over a long period of time, having this legislation in place basically says if a homeowner that's been in their home for 10 years or more that is in the low to moderate income bracket, if their taxes ever go up more than 50%, they can always apply for an abatement from the city of Wilmington, basically, and not have to pay if it's over 50%.
Now, did that legislation pass?
Yes.
See, and that was some of the controversial things that I did hear, and people did not give the details of. So it's good to hear that. So if a person, just so I can make sure I understand, if a person has 10 years in their home, if the tax go up more than 50%, then they can apply for this abatement as long as they're in that moderate income. So that is for the poor.
Yes.
Or shall I say moderate and to the poor.
Low to moderate.
So that's very good. I'm glad you shared that today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's who we should be helping.
Right. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that's what the Water Bill assistance is for.
Yeah.
Okay. If you qualify based on qualification, which would be, you know, what has been set up and what's in place, even the first-time home buyers, like all of the programs that we advocate for is for those that qualify, not just because you want it or you decide you don't pay your water bill. Okay, some people, your water bill is high because you just decided not to pay it, not because you can't afford it.
Okay.
So I'm always, my heart is for the seniors, the children, and those that are challenged and those that really need the help. Some people really do fall on hardships, right? Get laid off, have a big family, whatever the situation is. Those are the people I feel as though that we should help, not well-able bodies that can work.
You know, it's interesting because once I had a conversation with a parent here. We had a trip that we were having for the children, and the parent was saying, "Oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford that." But as I looked at her, Gucci, so I've learned that sometimes people, just to make sure you understand what she means when she says, you know, some people can pay, but they choose not to.
Correct.
They make decisions on what they want to pay. So she's not here to support that group. She's here to support the group that fall into some hard times. Because when I looked at her, I said, well, how did you get this? How did you get that? How did you get? And then it becomes, that's my business. It is your business. But when you're asking for help,
right,
you have to be able to demonstrate that you need the help, and it's not that you're just not using it as a priority. I think this is wonderful. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some more about this because you're clearing up some things that needed to be cleared up, especially with the budget.
Yes.
But your success in the 4th District has really been felt. Your role as the vice chair of the finance, I know some people will say, well, that's across the country. What has she done for Southbridge? Everything you've shared, whether it be Southbridge, whether it be the 4th District, it helps all of us.
Yes.
So what I think is very important, what we talked about today, is that you're really, even though you're doing a cross spectrum of support and help in our community, it's helping your district even the more because of where you sit on that council.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. And we're back. Great conversation, great opportunity. Things are being cleared up for me. I hope you are paying close attention to the woman, the person, the council lady that we have before us today. Councilwoman Harley has really shared her life. I mean, from the time that she was brought up here in Wilmington to going on to school, being a part of the DuPont family, well, not literally family, but the professional part of her life. Her leadership skills, how everywhere she have landed, she's led in those areas. So if she landed in the whether it be the what do you call the meetings, the civic associations, she led, and we are very grateful for that. This is the first time having you on the show, so I'm just so grateful to learn so much, and this will not be the last time that you get an opportunity to come on. We were into the last segment and we were talking a little bit about the different things you did with the budget to be able to help various parts of the community. But there was one you was getting ready to talk about, and I had cut you off, but I want to make sure you get an opportunity to continue.
One what?
For the $30,000 one that you gotten.
Oh yeah. So I was just going to say, you know, in different communities, I represent 6 neighborhoods in the 4th Councilmanic District.
Thank you. Yes.
6 neighborhoods. So those communities are Southbridge, the riverfront, both sides of the river, Christina Landon and Justice and Landon. all of downtown, which includes the businesses and the residents, a portion of the east side south of 9th Street, because the east side is split up between two districts, the 3rd and the 4th. So the 4th is south of 9th Street. And then I swing over to Midtown Brandywine, which is behind Mickey Moto's, in the Washington Street Ale House over by Free Air Charter School. That's Midtown Brandywine community there. And then lastly, it swings over to Trinity Vicinity, which is between, I want to say, 10th and 11th Street and Adams and Washington Street. So those are the 6 communities: Southbridge, the Riverfront, Downtown, the East Side, Midtown Brandywine, and Trinity Vicinity. Okay, so those are all the communities. So I said that to say that all of those communities don't have the same interests, issues, or concerns. I have 2 communities where I would say where the needs are greater, and that those requests come in. I'm available, and anyone in any of those districts that reach out to me for help or assistance in any capacity, I help them. I primarily save my money for my district. Now, some people, they give money to other districts, but because my district is so diverse, very active, all of the civic associations in the 4th district, in all those communities that I just mentioned, they are active. So I tend to get requests. So I get more requests from the Southbridge community as well as my East Side community, even though I make sure any community, a resident or a business that reaches out to me for support that's appropriate, I help, I serve them, because that's my role, right? To listen, to learn, and to advocate and to help where I can. So Southbridge, so far, they've had a number of activities in Southbridge. So the neighborhood house, I was very instrumental in making sure that they receive money for families, their family services. They already have a pipeline where residents from the community come there for help. So I try to get the biggest bang for our buck. So if there's already a pipeline where I know families come and they need assistance, then I try to send more money there around mortgage payments, help, with mortgage payments and rent payments and things of that nature. So they have their system. So helping the neighborhood house, there's the Art 2 Performing Arts. A number of dollars was given to that particular organization. There's a lady named Miss Pam who does her little cart. She cooks home-cooked meals, and she walks around the neighborhood and she serves the community, with food from her home. I've helped her. Excellent. Let's see, I'm going to be working with Carry Your Own Weight. They're going to be doing a big community day on August the 19th, so I'm one of the co-sponsors for that. That's supposed to be the big community day for Southbridge community, in a way where we're doing the backpacks and the slides, the water slides and all that. So when I look at the dollars, it's been about $25,000 to $30,000 thus far, working with this community, making sure that resources are coming over here. And sometimes I even partner with other organizations to get money to come over here as well. Okay.
Yes.
So, and I'm also excited to be partnering with Ezion Fair Baptist Church with your community day that's coming up. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. As a matter of fact, you are one of the main sponsors for our community day. It's going to start at 11:30 on August the 27th. It's going to start with a gospel concert. Our choirs and music ministry will be performing free of charge at the 11:30 service, and then after that we have all of this food. We got all kind of food. You can come get some fried fish. You can come get some chicken. You can get everything. We got to have so much food, and we're going to have music out, and we're going to be having a good time. And thank you, because when you say you try to spread the love, you didn't just say it. You're making it happen, and we are appreciative to that. Although you have been very helpful to Ezion Fair before this issue. I mean, not before this assistance that you're doing with this. I mean, because I don't want to get into all of the things that you've done setting up the meetings and things of that nature to make sure things happen. Again, a friend is not one who just always in your face. A friend is one who's there when you need them, and you have certainly been that person for us. So we are really coming to a place where the community needs leadership as it relates to individuals who will work for the community.
Yes.
You've shared with us today, without any question, that's who you have been.
Thank you.
You answered the question. You checked off a box that I had. You don't have to holler, scream, and get out of self in order for people to know your name, because your name is not really, you're not known as much as some others who, my uncle used to say, the empty wagon is the one that makes the most noise. So just for those of you who are watching, the people who are out making the most noise, making sure you understand their name, making sure they get everything in their name, they're very empty. But it's the people like yourself who have been prepared for such a time like this I'm very grateful for. I asked you to come on the show today because there were some concerns I had. Okay, I had concerns with one of the shows that I host is The Source, and on The Source there were some charges that she voted for the budget, and the budget didn't have anything to help Black and brown people, and I said, well, I need to call Councilwoman, and I need to ask her, and I did call you, and you began to share about 35 minutes worth of how it's helping us.
Yes.
I said, well, you need to really come and let's just talk about it,
yes.
because I don't think one of the things that happened when Dukakis ran against Reagan is that Dukakis kept saying, I ain't going to address it. It doesn't matter. Let him say what he want to say. And Reagan ended up kicking his behind. Sometimes people like myself, we remember that history, and I think it was important that you came in today. You're not trying to refute any. If people are going to say what they're going to say, they're going to believe what they want to believe.
Right.
But you're laying the facts out. You voted for the budget because there was a lot in that budget you advocated for.
Absolutely.
And not everything you want you get, not everything but you try to use your professional background and the best interests of your people to make some decisions.
Exactly.
Is that how you really operate?
Oh, I think what I just shared as it relates to the budget speaks for itself, with me not knowing this question was going to be asked after that. So all those dollars, the neighborhood stabilization, $2 million, advocating for that, the $250,000 for the home buyers assistance, the $250,000 for minority businesses, the $250,000 for water bill, utility assistance. I mean, those dollars are going to directly impact brown and black communities, no doubt, for those that need them.
Right.
So when I say that, I mean, like, I can't spell it out any other way than that, in terms of supporting all communities. When we get elected, we are elected to serve everybody in those districts, not just brown and black people. We are elected to serve everyone. And my style is, if you need more, you get more. Okay?
Right.
And it could be a different color. It doesn't necessarily have to be brown and black that needs it. So as an elected official, honoring the oath, I vow to serve the entire district, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. But at the same time, if I'm on the ground and I'm hearing there's a greater need in Southbridge, like I just shared, over $30,000. I've shared that because, number one, they asked for it. That's number one, they asked for it. Number two, I know that the needs were there, okay? Our children in this community, we want to encourage them, we want to inspire them, and I want to make sure that they always feel like there is hope. And these dollars that are going into these events and programs, bringing the community together, doing some things that are positive to put smiles on the faces of our children and families, right? It's important to me. And yes, it's all about helping everybody. And whenever legislation comes across my desk, first of all, I was elected by the people in the 4th District to represent and be a voice for them. That's first and foremost. Each council member has one vote. I do not get into nothing with any council member in terms of how they vote. They was elected by the people that voted them in.
Absolutely.
To vote and legislate and work with their community. Whatever way any of my council colleagues vote, it is none of my business as it relates to what's going on in their districts, what they see, what they have experienced, and what they're hearing. I don't know that. So of course, whichever way that they vote, then I trust that they are voting based on those reasons, what they're hearing, what they're seeing, and what they feel as though is best for that particular district. That's my mindset. So it's never an issue with me how anybody's voting on city council. All I know is this: if I have legislation, it's my business to communicate to my council members the importance of it, if they have any questions about it. And once I reach out to them and make them aware of the importance of it, to find out if they have any questions about it, whether they support it or not, I've done my job. They had the opportunity to share how they feel, and I do respect my council colleagues. If they decide to vote no on legislation that I'm sponsoring, I respect that. I don't take it personal. They have their reason. They have every right to decide how they feel, what is best for them, and I am okay with that. And prayerfully, they feel the same way about me if I decide to vote no, because you can best believe I vote on legislation based on the merits of the legislation. That's I would think that's what everybody's doing, but as for I only can speak for myself, it's based on the merits. I read it, I do my research and understand it, and if it's good for the community and good for the city.
Right. Okay, I like that.
Good for the community and good for the city.
That's right.
Right? Sometimes there could be situations where individuals, whomever, may think, oh, this is a great thing for the community, but the bigger picture is that we have to make sure we have a sound, solid city, because if we don't have a sound, solid city, then the communities, it doesn't matter. You know, it starts from the top down. So I look at everything in terms of, fiscally, our operating budget, how is dollars, how a decision is going to impact our operating budget.
So there's many factors.
Absolutely.
Not just
100%.
one factor.
No. With anything that deals with funding,
you
have to make sure that it's balanced and it's sound. We got salaries to pay.
Yeah.
We have bills to pay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's that DuPont in you, but that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. That's why they laugh forever. And I think that's something that we need to make sure. And you also said it's not personal, it's professional.
Yes,
and absolutely. I think if we all make sure we are doing that, I think we'll be a better organization. City Council have received a whole lot of criticism, some from me as well. But as I'm talking to more people in the City Council, I'm beginning to understand certain things a little bit differently. And I'm grateful that you really would even take the time out to conversate with me today. And I think that this will not be, given that you wanted our fourth councilman, we want to make sure that we bring you back from time to time as we leading up to the 24 election. But it's not even about the election as much as about people understanding the service that you are providing and giving them an update of where you are, because a lot of times, because of your training, because of your position in the kingdom of God, you don't really feel that you have to defend all of this stuff. And you should, and I would never put you in a position where you would need to. But I think you should always share, because to share what you are doing matters to those who want to just go ahead and put things out there. I want to give you an opportunity, now that we've come to the end of the show, to just share with the community anything you so desire. This is your moment to share whatever you want to share with our community.
Okay, so I want the community to know that this 108th Council, we have been, we started off a little rocky, but because we all realize that, we are leaders, and we definitely want to project a unified front. We have been working very hard with working with each other, because we realize that the community wants to see us, their leaders, being positive. As it relates to how we are working together and how we are projecting ourselves as their community leaders. So we are working very hard at that. I see everyone putting forth effort, for the most part, trying to be more unified, trying to understand what's going on in each other's districts. Those that feel like they want to communicate and relate and make those calls, we are trying very hard in the 108th session to be more unified so we can be of better service to our constituency, because as the more unified we are, the more we and better we can work together. And so I can definitely see the progress in that area. If there is ever any information that they receive that it doesn't sound like it's positive, reach out to your council member and have a call with them and have a conversation with them. Don't ever just assume just because who the person is that is factual.
Right.
If it's something that doesn't sound positive, always reach out, because a lot of times, a lot of things that I've heard is not. That's not the way that it is. And some of it is just blatantly not true. And sometimes people are just sharing their personal opinion, and everybody has one. And sometimes that happens a lot. People just sharing their personal opinion. But I will always give you the facts. Anything dealing with the 4th District, I would love for people to always reach out to me, but not only just to me. I think all of my council colleagues feel the same way. If there is ever something that, that they're not sure about, to reach out. We all are here for the same reason. I want to believe that. We want to make a difference in our communities. I also want the community to know, as a legislator, our main position is to be at the city council meetings and to be at our committee meetings, sponsor legislation and vote on legislation. But services, constituent services, is really under the mayor's departments.
Understood.
So if you are a constituent and you need a service, whether it's Public Works, whether it's L&I, anything that deals with a service, I want them to call 311.
Right, I got you.
Call 311. If you don't get the service you feel as though you deserve to get, or you don't get a response, then reach out to your council member. There has been a culture, I think, of residents feeling like, call city council first. I just explained basically our role and responsibility. We're here to help everybody, but let your first place be to call 311 or to go to their website, the City of Wilmington's website. You can either go on the website and share what service you need, or you can call 311 and they will give you a tracking number. And some individuals feel like, oh, I don't want to be bothered with that, but it does have a good purpose, because if they track the number of calls they're getting, say for instance, like if there's a number of requests for tree trimming, maybe we need to get another arborist. Maybe one is not enough. Or if there is any service where it's in abundance and there may need to be another person added in that position, that's another reason why, is to collect the data to see, where the services are needed the most, or if we need to add more people in those positions. So it's not just to blow people off, but it does have a purpose, and for it to be more organized. So I just want them to know that we're here, the community to know that we're here for you. I'm Michelle Harley, 4th District. My number is 302-519-5974. My email is mhharlee, Harlee, at wilmingtonde.gov. Just reach out, call me, email me if you need to reach me or contact me, because I'm here for you. I believe our council is here, and we want to serve and support those that put us in these positions to do just that.
Excellent. Well, it has been a true privilege having you with us today. I will be calling you again to come back, and I will just certify one thing you said, and that is, whenever I call, you always respond. You're very busy because you do have a day job as well. Sometimes people think that the council people are just waiting for a call to come in. Right. But thank you so very much for taking the time to be with us, and I will assure you, as we go through this summer of different public servants, we're going to start it up again so that we can get ready for the election, because there's so many wonderful things we're going to be having during that time too, where you can come back and share into your platform if you so choose to run, which I hope you really will choose to be a part of this council for some more time.
Well, all right. Thank you, and thank you again for this opportunity. Yeah. It has been a pleasure to share, and I want to say thank you, Pastor, for what you're doing in the community.
Bless you.
When I think about, this campus, when I drove up today and I seen the wellness center there, I mean, the impact of that, what you're doing, and most of it, I know that you've done this pretty much, you know, with the resources from your church. And I just want to say thank you for what you're doing in the community and what the Ezine Fair church family is doing, making an impact, the community days, the different events, the women's events, the crab. You get ready to have
crab
like
feast.
a crab feast. I know. I think I bought a ticket from Trista at the nail salon Saturday, right? So, you know.
And she didn't show up to church, so thank you for telling me that. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, that is too funny. So, but thank you for what Ezine Fair Baptist Church is doing in the community as well.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Source. Be sure to tune in next Sunday at 5 p.m.